You've just turned off the lights, and you're lying in bed, doing what every responsible adult your age does, calculating exactly how many hours of sleep you'll get if you fall asleep right now. Congratulations. You've just enrolled in the nightly masterclass of overthinking that's been running since you hit your 30s. Or maybe it started when you had kids, got that promotion, or realized your retirement account isn't quite what those financial planning articles said it should be. Your body is tired, your eyes are heavy, but your brain has decided this is the perfect time for a comprehensive life review, starting with that mortgage refinancing decision from 2009 and ending with whether you should switch health insurance providers during open enrollment. Welcome to what Buddhist monks have been dealing with for 2,500 years. Except they didn't have to worry about their kids' college fund or whether that weird pain in their knee meant they should finally see a doctor. Lucky them. Right now, you're experiencing what the Buddha called dukkha, suffering. Not the dramatic kind you see in movies, but the special brand that comes from a mind that won't stop auditing your life choices. You're about to discover why your brain, the same one that successfully manages a career, perhaps raised children, and keeps track of 17 different passwords, completely loses its ability to shut down at bedtime. Spoiler alert, those ancient Buddhist teachers figured this out, and they didn't even have property taxes to worry about. Let's start with what's happening right now. You're lying there, and your mind is helpfully reminding you about that email you forgot to send, your cholesterol numbers from your last checkup, whether you should sell those stocks, if your adult children are making good decisions, and oh yes, the fact that you're not sleeping. This, my horizontal friend, is what Buddhists call the monkey mind. Though honestly, that's unfair to monkeys. At least they don't lie awake wondering if they saved enough bananas for retirement. The Buddha himself was about your age, mid-30s, when he decided to figure out why humans suffer. He'd been living the good life. Wealthy family, nice house, good health plan, servants to fan you counts as healthcare, right? But he looked around and thought, why am I still not satisfied? Why is my mind never quiet? Sound familiar? You've got the house, with 12 years left on the mortgage, the career, with its own special kind of stress, maybe grown kids, who still need things. And yet here you are, wide awake, wondering why inner peace is harder to find than a matching sock. Here's the first thing those Buddhist teachers discovered. Your thoughts aren't reality. I know. That thought about your upcoming medical procedure feels pretty real. So does the one about your aging parents. But these are mental events, not prophecies carved in stone. Right now, your mind is doing what minds do best, creating detailed disaster scenarios with the production value of a Hollywood blockbuster. Coming this fall, what if your retirement savings aren't enough? Starring your anxiety and featuring special guest appearances by every financial mistake you've made. Let's talk about the Four Noble Truths, which are basically the ancient equivalent of, here's why you can't sleep and what to do about it, without having to buy another self-help book. First noble. Truth. Life includes suffering, or as you're currently experiencing it. Why am I awake thinking about whether I should have bought long-term care insurance? You see, The Buddha noticed that even when life is good, and let's be honest, if you're in bed instead of a hospital, and you're worried about your retirement savings instead of your next meal, life is pretty good. We still find ways to be dissatisfied. It's like we're hardwired to find problems, even if we have to invent them. Second noble truth. Suffering comes from attachment and craving. In your case, that's the attachment to the idea that you should have your life completely figured out by now. Newsflash, nobody does. Not even that friend from college who posts perfect vacation photos on Facebook. Your mind right now is attached to the idea that you should be asleep, which ironically is keeping you awake. It's like trying not to think about your blood pressure. Suddenly, that's all you can think about. Third noble truth. There's a way out of this suffering. And no, it doesn't involve meditation apps that cost $14.99 a month, though the Buddha would have probably had thoughts about subscription-based enlightenment. The way out isn't through more thinking. You've been thinking for several decades now, and where has it gotten you? Here, in bed, thinking about thinking. It's time for a different approach. Fourth noble truth. There's a path to freedom, the noble eightfold path. Don't worry, this isn't like that diet plan you tried last January. This actually works, and you don't have to give up wine. Let's focus on what's relevant right now. Right mindfulness. This means being aware of what's actually happening, not what your mind says is happening. What's actually happening? You're lying in bed, you're breathing, you're physically safe. That's it. What's your mind saying is happening? That tomorrow's ruined, your health is declining, your kids are making poor choices, you're behind on everything, and somehow this is all connected to that decision you made. Here's something interesting. The Buddha taught that most of our suffering comes from living in the past or future, never the present. And let's be honest, you've got a lot more past to worry about, and seemingly less future to plan for. It's the perfect recipe for middle-of-the-night anxiety. One moment you're regretting not buying Apple stock in 2001. The next, you're worried about healthcare costs in the future. Meanwhile, the present moment, the only one you can actually do anything about, is sitting here like that gym membership you keep paying for, but never use. The Buddhist concept of anatta, or non-self, might sound like something your yoga instructor talks about, but it's actually quite practical. That voice in your head that's currently listing every way you've fallen short of your life goals. That's not the real you. It's more like a talk radio station that somehow got stuck on the everything you're doing wrong channel. Think about it. You're observing these thoughts, which means you can't be the thoughts themselves. You're the awareness behind them. It's like realizing you're not the movie on the screen, you're the one watching it. And this particular movie, Midnight Anxiety, the unnecessary sequel, isn't even that good. Let's talk about impermanence, which sounds depressing but is actually liberating. Everything changes, including this sleepless state you're in. Remember when you were 30 and could survive on 4 hours of sleep? That changed. Remember when your biggest financial worry was making rent? That changed too. The good news is, your current state of wide-awake worry will also change. The bad news is, You'll probably have to go through this a few more times before you really get it. Most of the time, your mind is like a browser with 47 tabs open. Mortgage calculator, WebMD, never a good idea after midnight. Your kid's college tuition page, retirement planning, that article about foods that fight inflammation, and several others you don't even remember opening. The Buddhist practice isn't about closing all these tabs through force. It's about realizing you don't have to click on every pop-up thought that appears. Here's what meditation really is. It's not sitting cross-legged chanting Om, unless that's your thing. It's simply watching your thoughts without getting sucked into their drama. Right now, you can practice this in bed. Notice that thought about tomorrow's meeting. You don't have to follow it down the rabbit hole of, what if I say something stupid, leading to what if I get fired, leading to what if I can't pay the mortgage, leading to what if I end up living in my car. Just notice. There's a thought about tomorrow's meeting. Let it pass. Another one will be along shortly. They're more reliable than your local bus service. The Buddha talked about the middle way, avoiding extremes. At your age, you know about extremes. Extreme dieting. Remember that cabbage soup phase? Extreme exercise. Hello, weekend warrior injuries. Extreme worry. Your current specialty. The middle way here is accepting that you're awake without panicking about being awake. It's like accepting that your metabolism isn't what it used to be. Fighting it only makes you miserable. Let's address something specific to your stage of life. The sandwich generation anxiety. You're worried about your aging parents and your adult children. You're planning for retirement while still paying off debts. You're dealing with your own health issues while managing everyone else's needs. The Buddha would point out that you're suffering not from these responsibilities, but from the stories you're telling yourself about them. I should have saved more. I should be healthier. I should have made better choices. Should. It's like your mind is a really judgmental life coach who works the night shift. Here's a Buddhist insight that's particularly relevant. The concept of right effort. This doesn't mean trying harder. You've been trying hard your whole life. It means trying differently. Right effort in this moment means not trying to force sleep. It means not battling your thoughts. It means lying here with a kind of radical acceptance. I'm awake. Millions of people my age are also awake right now, probably thinking similar thoughts. This is part of the human experience. You know what's funny? The Buddha achieved enlightenment by literally sitting still and doing nothing. After years of trying everything else, extreme fasting, intense meditation, studying with various teachers, he finally just sat down under a tree and stopped trying so hard. There's a lesson there for those of us who've spent decades believing that the answer to every problem is to work harder, think more, plan better. Sometimes the answer is to do less, not more. Your thoughts are like those spam calls you keep getting about your car's extended warranty. They're persistent, they seem urgent, but they're not actually important. You don't have to answer every one. Let's talk about compassion. Starting with self-compassion. You're lying here being incredibly hard on yourself for what? Being human? Having concerns? Caring about your family's well-being? These aren't character flaws. They're signs you're a responsible adult. The Buddha taught that suffering is universal. That person you think has it all figured out? They're probably awake at 2 a.m. wondering if they chose the right Medicare plan too. Here's something practical: the 5 hindrances to meditation, or in your case, sleep. 1. Desire, wanting things to be different. 2. Aversion, not wanting what's happening. 3. Sloth, torpor, that heaviness that isn't quite sleep. 4. Restlessness, your current state. 5. Doubt, wondering if anything will ever help. Recognize any of these? Of course you do. You're experiencing at least 3 right now. The Buddhist approach isn't to fight these hindrances, but to acknowledge them. Hello, restlessness. I see you're here again. Pull up a chair, but you don't get to drive. Think about how much energy you're spending right now fighting reality. You're awake. That's the reality. All the mental energy you're using to argue with this fact could power a small city. What if, and stay with me here, you just accepted being awake, not forever, just for this moment? What if instead of seeing this as wasted time, you saw it as found time? Time to practice being present, to observe your mind's habits, to maybe even find some peace. I know what you're thinking. Easy for you to say. You're not the one who has to function tomorrow on no sleep. Fair point. But here's the thing. You will function tomorrow. You functioned on little sleep before. Remember when your kids were babies? Remember pulling all-nighters in college? You're tougher than you think. The Buddha talked about right view, seeing things as they really are. Right now, your mind is adding a lot of extra suffering to the simple fact of being awake. It's like putting hot sauce on food that's already spicy, unnecessary, and painful. Here's what's really happening. You're a person of a certain age, with real responsibilities and concerns, having trouble sleeping. That's it. You're not failing at life. You're not uniquely anxious. You're just human. And here's the beautiful part. According to Buddhist teaching, this very moment, yes, this frustrating, sleepless moment, contains everything you need for peace. Not the peace of unconsciousness, though that would be nice, but the peace of accepting what is. Your mind will keep generating thoughts. That's what minds do. They're like that relative who always has opinions about everything. You can't stop them from talking, but you don't have to believe everything they say. As you lie there, possibly adjusting your pillow for the 15th time, not that anyone's counting, except your brain, which is keeping detailed records of everything. Let's talk about what Buddhist teachers call suffering upon suffering. You know this one. It's when you're upset about being upset, anxious about being anxious, worried that you're worrying too much. It's like compound interest, but for misery. Right now, you're probably suffering about your suffering. Why can't I sleep? Becomes, why can't I sleep? And why can't I stop thinking about why I can't sleep? It's the mental equivalent of those prescription side effects that are worse than the original problem. The Buddha would point out, if he were lying in your memory foam bed instead of sitting under a Bodhi tree, that this second layer of suffering is entirely optional. Like extended warranties or premium cable packages, you don't actually need it. Let's talk about attachment. No, not your attachment to your morning coffee, though that's real, but your attachment to how you think things should be. You should be asleep. Your kids should call more often. Your retirement account should be bigger. Your back shouldn't hurt when you garden. Should. It's like your mind is running a constant audit of reality and finding it lacking. But here's what those Buddhist monks figured out while you were busy building a career and raising a family. Attachment to how things should be causes more suffering than the things themselves. Your sleeplessness isn't the real problem. The problem is your conviction that you absolutely must be asleep right now. It's like insisting it shouldn't rain during your vacation. You can insist all you want, but the rain doesn't care about your preferences. Speaking of preferences, let's address something specific to your stage of life, the growing awareness of impermanence. You've lived long enough to see that nothing stays the same. Parents age, children grow up and move away. Career pinnacles become distant memories. That metabolism you had at 25, gone with your collection of cassette tapes. The Buddha talked extensively about impermanence, but let's be honest, it hits different when you actually start experiencing it. When you realize you have more years behind you than ahead. When you notice you're starting to sound like your parents. When you can actually remember where you were when, for multiple historical events. This awareness of impermanence is exactly why you're lying awake calculating how many good years you have left. Your mind is trying to solve the unsolvable puzzle of mortality with the same approach you use for spreadsheets and tax returns. But here's what Buddhism teaches. Impermanence isn't the enemy. Resisting impermanence is. You're suffering not because things change, but because you're fighting against the fact that things change. Think about it. If nothing ever changed, you'd still be in that dead-end job from your 20s. Your kids would never have learned to walk. You'd never have grown wiser, more compassionate, more skilled at crossword puzzles or whatever hobby you've picked up to keep your mind sharp. Right now, your insomnia feels permanent. This is my life now, your mind declares dramatically. I'm someone who doesn't sleep, but even this will change. Everything does. Let's explore the Buddhist concept of right effort as it applies to someone who's already spent decades making effort. You've worked hard, raised families, built careers, saved for retirement, well, tried to. Now you're lying in bed making an effort to sleep, which is about as effective as making an effort to be spontaneous. Right effort isn't about trying harder. At your age, you've probably figured out that not everything can be solved by applying more force. Right effort is about wisdom, knowing when to act and when to let go. Right now, the wise effort might be to stop trying to force sleep and instead just rest. Your body is horizontal. Your muscles are relaxing, except for that spot in your shoulder that's been tense since 1994. That's already accomplishing something. Let's talk about meditation, but not the kind where you need to sit in lotus position. Your knees have opinions about that. This is bed meditation, perfect for people who remember when gas was under $1 and phones were attached to walls. Focus on your breath, not to change it, just to notice it, in and out. You've been breathing successfully for several decades now without thinking about it. You're actually quite good at it. When thoughts arise, I need to call about that insurance claim. Did I take my medication? Why did I say that stupid thing at dinner? Just notice them. You don't have to do anything with them. They're like those people who still send chain emails. You can acknowledge their existence without engaging. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from the stories we tell ourselves. And boy, do you have stories. The story of who you should be by now. The story of what you should have accomplished. The story of how your body should feel, how your family should behave, how your retirement should look. These stories are keeping you awake. They're like Netflix series that automatically play the next episode. One anxious thought leads to another, and suddenly you're 6 seasons deep into anxiety, the complete collection. Here's a radical idea. What if you're exactly where you're supposed to be? What if all those mistakes were actually the curriculum of your life? What if your current challenges, including this sleeplessness, are not obstacles, but teachers? I know. Philosophical acceptance feels about as achievable as your high school weight. But stay with me. The Buddha discovered that peace comes not from changing your circumstances, but from changing your relationship to your circumstances. You can't control whether you sleep tonight, but you can control whether you add suffering to your sleeplessness. Let's be practical about something. Your generation has been sold the idea that you can control everything through hard work and proper planning. Save enough money, exercise enough, eat the right foods, take the right supplements, and you'll age gracefully into a perfectly managed retirement. Then reality shows up with hot flashes, market crashes, adult children moving back home, and parents who need care. Suddenly, that illusion of control starts looking as outdated as your VHS collection. Buddhism offers something different, the recognition that control was always an illusion. Peace comes from accepting what you can't control while taking responsibility for what you can. You can't control your racing thoughts, but you can control whether you believe them. You can't control whether you fall asleep, but you can control whether you panic about it. Here's something the Buddha understood that's particularly relevant to your demographic. Wisdom comes from experience, not from thinking about experience. You've accumulated decades of experience. You've lived through recessions, raised children, or chose not to, changed careers, lost loved ones, celebrated victories, survived failures. That's wisdom, real wisdom, not the kind that comes from self-help books or meditation apps, but the kind that comes from actually living. So why are you lying here at midnight thinking you need to figure something out? You've already figured out how to survive everything life has thrown at you so far. You'll figure this out too. The Buddhist concept of Sangha, community, is especially important at your age. You're not alone in this sleepless night. Millions of people your age are awake right now, worrying about similar things. There's something comforting in that, isn't there? We're all in this together. This strange experience of being human, of aging, of lying awake wondering if we've done enough, saved enough, loved enough. The Buddha taught that suffering is universal, but so is the path out of suffering. It's not about becoming someone different. It's about being more fully who you already are, with all your accumulated wisdom, your battle scars, your laugh lines, and yes, even your insomnia. Let's talk about loving kindness meditation, adapted for someone whose idea of meditation might be staring at their coffee maker, waiting for it to finish brewing. Start with yourself. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. May I get some damn sleep. The Buddha didn't say that last part, but he would understand. Now extend it to others. May all the other people my age lying awake right now be happy. May they be peaceful. May they stop Googling their symptoms. This practice isn't about feeling warm and fuzzy. It's about recognizing our shared humanity. That person you're worried about? They're probably worried about you too. Those adult children you're concerned about? They're likely lying awake worrying about you. It's worry all the way down, but also love, also care, also connection. The Buddha taught that we suffer because we feel separate, separate from others, separate from life, separate from the present moment. But lying here in the dark, breathing the same air as billions of others, worried about the same human concerns, you're not separate at all. Your racing thoughts about mortgage payments, medication side effects, and whether your kids are making good choices, these aren't signs that you're failing at life. They're signs that you're fully participating in it. Here's what Buddhism offers that's different from all those articles about sleep hygiene and stress management. The recognition that sometimes being awake at night is just part of the human experience. It's not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be had. Maybe tonight isn't about sleeping. Maybe it's about practicing being gentle with yourself, about observing your mind without judgment, about recognizing that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if that's wide awake. The Buddha found enlightenment not by escaping life's difficulties, but by facing them with compassion and wisdom. You don't need to find enlightenment tonight, though if you do, please share the secret. You just need to find a little peace with where you are. And where are you? You're in bed, relatively healthy, with a roof over your head and people to worry about. That's not so bad, is it? Your problems are real, but so are your blessings. Your mind will keep generating thoughts about your health, your finances, your family, your future. That's what minds do, especially minds that have been solving problems and managing responsibilities for decades. But you don't have to chase every thought. You don't have to solve every problem tonight. You can just lie here, breathing, being human, sharing this moment with countless others who are also awake, also worried, also wondering. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's even a kind of meditation. Maybe that's exactly what the Buddha was talking about, finding peace not by escaping life, but by accepting it, sleepless nights and all. So breathe. Notice your thoughts without believing all of them. Be gentle with yourself. You've made it this far through everything life has thrown at you. You'll make it through this night too. And if you do eventually fall asleep, great. If not, you'll have practiced something even more valuable, being at peace with what is. That's a skill worth developing, whether you're 35 or 85, whether it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., whether you're in bed or sitting under a Bodhi tree. The Buddha would approve, and he'd probably remind you that tomorrow's worries will still be there tomorrow. You don't need to solve them all tonight. Now, let your mind rest, even if your body won't sleep. You've earned it after all these years of thinking, planning, worrying, and caring. Tonight, you can just be. That's the first noble truth of insomnia. This is happening. The second, you're attaching to the idea it shouldn't be. The third, you can let go of that attachment. The fourth, here's how. By practicing exactly what you're doing right now, being aware, being present, being human. Welcome to Buddhism for the sleep deprived. Class is in session and you're already passing. So you've been lying here for what feels like several lifetimes, and now your mind has decided to throw a party. Unfortunately, it's the kind of party where all the guests are your anxieties, and they're really getting comfortable. Welcome to the next chapter of your nightly mental marathon, where we explore why Buddhist monks spent centuries figuring out the human mind instead of, inventing coffee or comfortable sandals. You've just shifted position again. Not that anyone's counting, except your brain, which is keeping detailed statistics on everything, including how many times you've checked if your alarm is set and how many times you've calculated the remaining hours until morning. This, my friend, is what the Buddha called papanka, the mental proliferation that turns a simple thought into an entire Netflix series. Except this series is called Every Possible Thing That Could Go Wrong, the complete collection, and you're binge watching it against your will. Let's talk about what's really happening in that overactive mind of yours. See, 2,500 years ago, while most people were worried about things like will it rain and are those berries poisonous, logically, this wealthy prince named Siddhartha was lying awake wondering, why can't I just chill? He had everything: palace, servants, a dad who literally tried to hide all suffering from him. Imagine having a helicopter parent who owns actual helicopters. But there he was, probably lying awake just like you, thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. So he did what any reasonable person would do. Abandoned his cushy lifestyle to sit under a tree and figure out why humans can't stop overthinking. After several years of this, talk about commitment issues with sleep, he discovered something that would really annoy modern self-help gurus. The problem isn't your thoughts. The problem is that you think your thoughts are you. Right now, for instance, that voice in your head that's listing everything wrong with your life. That's not you. That's just mental radio static. You're the one hearing it. Big difference. The Buddha called this insight anatta, or non-self, which sounds like something your yoga teacher might say while you're trying not to fall over in tree pose. But here's what it actually means. That running commentary in your head, the one currently doing a performance review of your entire life, isn't the real you any more than a podcast is your actual friend talking to you. Let's get practical about this. You're lying here, and your mind is helpfully providing commentary, like a sports announcer who hates the home team. And there goes another minute of potential sleep. That's going to cost them tomorrow. Remember when they used to be able to function on 4 hours? Those days are gone, folks. This is what Buddhists call the monkey mind. Although honestly, that's unfair to monkeys. At least they sleep at night and don't lie awake, wondering if they saved enough bananas for retirement. Your particular monkey mind has evolved. It's got a mortgage, elderly parents to worry about, and it knows exactly how much sleep you need to function tomorrow, which is definitely more than you're getting. This is not your grandfather's monkey mind. This is Monkey Mind 2.0, with advanced anxiety features and real-time catastrophe simulation. The Buddha identified what he called the 5 hindrances to peace of mind. Let's see how many you're experiencing right now. First, there's sensual desire, not just the fun kind, but any wanting things to be different, like wanting to be asleep right now, or wanting your back to stop making that weird clicking sound, or wanting your kids to make better life choices. Second is ill will or aversion. That's the part of you that's angry at being awake, frustrated with your racing thoughts, or resentful that other people, probably, are sleeping peacefully while you're here getting a masterclass in Buddhist psychology. Third is sloth and torpor. That heavy, dull feeling that's not quite sleep, but makes thinking feel like wading through peanut butter. You know this one. It's why you've been staring at the ceiling without actually seeing it. Fourth is restlessness and worry. Oh, hello there. This is your current specialty. Your mind is like a squirrel that's discovered espresso, bouncing from one concern to another. Retirement funds, health issues, that weird sound your car is making, whether you remembered to move the laundry to the dryer. Fifth is doubt. Not just regular doubt, but the special kind that makes you question everything. Did I make the right choices? Am I doing enough? Will anything I'm worrying about actually matter? Is this meditation stuff even real? Or am I just lying here listening to my own thoughts, like some kind of consciousness podcast? Congratulations, you're experiencing all 5 hindrances simultaneously. The Buddha would be impressed. Or concerned, probably both. But here's the thing the Buddha figured out. These hindrances aren't personal failures. They're not signs that you're bad at being human. They're just what minds do. It's like being upset that water is wet or that teenagers are confusing. This is just the nature of consciousness when left unsupervised. The Buddha's solution wasn't to fight these hindrances. That would be like trying to arm wrestle your own shadow. Instead, he suggested something radical. Just notice them. Don't judge them. Don't try to fix them. Just notice. Oh, there's anxiety. Hello, anxiety. I see you've brought your friends regret and future tripping. Make yourselves at home, I guess. This is what he called mindfulness, which has now been packaged and sold as everything from a phone app to a corporate wellness program. But originally, it just meant paying attention to what's actually happening instead of what your mind says is happening. Right now, what's actually happening? You're lying in bed, you're breathing, you're physically safe. That's it. Everything else, the mortgage worries, the health concerns, the replay of that awkward conversation from 1987, that's just your mind's late-night improv show. Speaking of which, let's talk about what the Buddha called dependent origination, which sounds like something you'd need a philosophy degree to understand, but it's actually pretty simple. Everything depends on everything else. Your current inability to sleep depends on your thoughts, which depend on your worries, which depend on your past experiences, which depend on that time in 3rd grade when someone laughed at your presentation, which somehow connects to your current fear of public speaking, which relates to tomorrow's meeting, which is why you can't sleep. See? It's all connected, like the world's most anxious connect-the-dots puzzle. The Buddha noticed that we create these elaborate chains of cause and effect in our minds, then treat them like they're as real as gravity. But they're not. They're just stories we tell ourselves, like bedtime stories, except these ones keep us awake and have really terrible endings. Take your current favorite story. I can't sleep. Therefore tomorrow will be terrible. Therefore I'll mess up at work. Therefore I'll lose my job. Therefore I'll end up living under a bridge. This is what Buddhists call catastrophizing, though they probably had a fancier Sanskrit term for it. The Buddha's insight was that you can break these chains at any point. You don't have to follow the thought train all the way to its final destination of doom. You can just notice, oh, there goes the catastrophe train again. Choo-choo, have fun without me. This is where the Buddha's teaching on impermanence comes in handy. Everything changes, including your current state of wide-eyed worry. The thoughts you're having right now, temporary. The feeling that you'll never sleep again, temporary. That embarrassing thing you said at last year's holiday party. Well, the embarrassment is temporary, even if your relatives' memories are unfortunately permanent. The Buddha pointed out that we suffer because we treat temporary things as permanent. We think our current problems will last forever. Our current feelings are our permanent personality, and our current thoughts are eternal truths. But they're not. They're more like weather, constantly changing, occasionally dramatic, and completely beyond our control. Speaking of lack of control, let's address what's really keeping you awake. The illusion that if you think about something hard enough, you can control it. This is like believing that if you worry about rain enough, you can change the weather. Your retirement account doesn't grow because you anxiety calculate it at night. Your adult children don't make better choices because you lie awake reviewing their options. The Buddha called this grasping, the desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. It's exhausting, like trying to hold water in your fist or teach a cat to file taxes. But here's the revolutionary idea. What if you just didn't? What if you acknowledged that lying here, running worst-case scenarios, isn't actually productive? What if worrying about your health at night doesn't count as preventive medicine? This is what the Buddha meant by letting go, not giving up, not becoming irresponsible, just recognizing that your mental hamster wheel isn't actually powering anything except your anxiety. Now you might be thinking, easy for Buddha to say. He didn't have a mortgage, elderly parents, or kids who text, "We need to talk," at 11 p.m. Fair point. But he did have the same human brain you have, with all its default settings for worry, regret, and existential crises. The Buddha discovered that the mind has certain patterns, like software bugs that have been running since the Stone Age. These patterns made sense when we needed to remember which caves had bears and which berries were poisonous. But now, they just make us lie awake, wondering if we chose the right health insurance plan. One of these patterns is what Buddhists call dukkha, often translated as suffering, but really meaning the basic unsatisfactoriness of existence. It's that feeling that something's always slightly off, like wearing shoes that are half a size too small, or having a popcorn kernel stuck in your teeth. Forever. Right now, your dukkha might be manifesting as, "I should be asleep," or "I should have my life more figured out by now," or "I shouldn't still be making mistakes at my age." Your mind is shoulding all over you. The Buddha's first noble truth is simply acknowledging that this dissatisfaction exists. Not to be pessimistic, but to stop being surprised by it. Life includes difficulty. Sleep includes sleeplessness. Parenting includes worry. Aging includes new, mysterious body sounds. This isn't failure. It's the full human experience package. The second noble truth identifies the cause: craving and attachment. You're attached to the idea of perfect sleep, perfect health, perfect decisions. You crave certainty in an uncertain world. You want guarantees in a life that offers none. except that things will change and your body will continue making weird noises. But here's where it gets interesting. The third noble truth says this suffering can end. Not by achieving perfect sleep or figuring out everything, but by changing your relationship to imperfection. It's like finally accepting that your hair has its own agenda and working with it instead of against it. The fourth noble truth is the path out, the famous eightfold path. Don't worry, we're not going to make you memorize all 8 right now. Your brain is busy enough catastrophizing about tomorrow. But one relevant part is right understanding. Seeing things as they actually are, not as your anxiety paints them. Right understanding in this moment means recognizing you're awake, that's uncomfortable but not dangerous. Millions of people throughout history have survived sleepless nights, and your brain's disaster predictions have a terrible accuracy rate. The Buddha talked about middle way, the path between extremes. Right now, you're bouncing between the extreme of forcing sleep and the extreme of panicking about not sleeping. The middle way might be resting in wakefulness, letting your body relax even if your mind won't, trusting that rest has value even without unconsciousness. This is radical for those of us raised on the try harder philosophy. We've been taught that every problem can be solved with more effort, more thinking, more control. The Buddha suggests that some problems dissolve when we stop treating them as problems. Imagine approaching your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to chase them, fight them, or figure them out. Just let them drift by. There goes the money worry cloud. Oh look, the health anxiety cumulus. Ah, the classic, did I lock the door formation. This is meditation, by the way, not sitting cross-legged chanting Om, but simply observing your mind without getting pulled into its drama. You're already doing it. You just didn't know it counted. The Buddha emphasized that meditation isn't about achieving special states or having mystical experiences. It's about seeing clearly what's already happening. Right now, what's happening is thoughts arising, body sensations, breathing, continuing whether you manage it or not. One of Buddha's key insights was recognizing patterns of thought that create suffering. He called these sanskaras, mental formations or habits. Your mind has grooves worn into it by years of thinking the same thoughts, like a river carving a canyon. The I'm not doing enough canyon. The what if something goes wrong gorge. The why did I say that stupid thing ravine. These patterns feel permanent, but they're not. They're just habits, and habits can change. Even the habit of overthinking about whether your habits can change. The Buddha wasn't just philosophizing for fun. He was trying to solve the same problem you're having right now. Why does the human mind insist on making itself miserable? It's like having a roommate who constantly rearranges your furniture while you're trying to sleep, then criticizes the layout. Let's talk about what the Buddha called the 3 characteristics of existence. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a philosophy lecture. Think of it more as understanding the operating system your mind runs on. First characteristic, impermanence, anicca. Everything changes. Your thoughts right now, they'll be different in 5 minutes. That worry about your retirement? It'll shift, evolve, maybe get replaced by a worry about your knee. Even your inability to sleep is impermanent, though it might not feel that way as you lie here counting imaginary sheep, who are probably also anxious about their future financial security. Second characteristic, suffering or dissatisfaction, dukkha. We've covered this one. It's the sense that something's always a bit off, like when your socks are slightly damp, or when someone says, "We need to talk," and you have to wait 3 hours to find out they just want to discuss dinner plans. Third characteristic, non-self, anatta. This is the big one. There's no fixed, permanent you having these thoughts. You're more like a river, constantly flowing, changing, never the same from one moment to the next. The you that started listening, this isn't the same you listening now. Some of your cells have already died and been replaced. You're literally not the same person you were a paragraph ago. This might sound scary, but it's actually liberating. If there's no fixed self, then there's no fixed person who can't sleep or person who always worries. These are just temporary weather patterns in consciousness. The Buddha discovered this while sitting under what's now called the Bodhi tree. Though let's be honest, if someone today sat under a tree for 49 days straight, we'd probably call emergency services. Different times. But what he realized is relevant right now, in your bed, in your sleeplessness. Your suffering comes not from being awake, but from your relationship to being awake. It's not the insomnia that's torturing you. It's your thoughts about the insomnia. This is what Buddhists call the second arrow. The first arrow is the actual circumstance. You can't sleep. That's unpleasant but manageable. The second arrow is everything your mind adds. This is terrible. I'm going to be exhausted tomorrow. Something must be wrong with me. I'll never sleep again. You're essentially shooting yourself repeatedly with an entire quiver of second arrows. The Buddha's suggestion? Stop shooting yourself. Radical, I know. Let's explore what he called the 4 foundations of mindfulness. These are like GPS coordinates for navigating your current mental traffic jam. First foundation, mindfulness of body. Notice your physical sensations right now, not to judge them or change them, just to notice. The weight of your body on the mattress, the temperature of your skin, that spot in your lower back that's been annoying, the rhythm of your breathing that continues whether you micromanage it or not. Your body is actually pretty good at existing without your conscious supervision. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe, your cells do their cellular things. Maybe your mind could learn from your body's example. Second foundation, mindfulness of feelings. In Buddhism, feelings doesn't mean emotions like, I'm sad because my kid never calls. It means the basic flavor of experience, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Being awake when you want to sleep, unpleasant. The softness of your pillow, pleasant. The sound of a car passing outside, probably neutral unless you've decided to make it part of your "why can't the world be quiet" complaint. Third foundation, mindfulness of mind. This is observing your mental state like a scientist observing weather patterns. Is your mind tight or spacious? Agitated or calm? Racing or sluggish? You're not trying to change the weather, just noting. Currently experiencing mental thunderstorms with a chance of existential dread. Fourth foundation, mindfulness of mental objects. These are the specific thoughts, worries, memories that populate your mind. Instead of getting lost in their content, you observe them as phenomena. There's the thought about tomorrow's meeting. There's the memory of that embarrassing thing from high school. There's the fantasy about winning the lottery and solving all problems forever. The Buddha discovered that when you observe thoughts this way, they lose their power. They're like scary movies, terrifying when you're immersed in them, but much less so when you remember you're just watching a screen. Now, let's address something specific to your life stage: the burden of accumulated responsibilities. The Buddha talked about bhara, which means burden. At your age, you're probably carrying multiple bharas: aging parents, adult children who still need guidance, your own health concerns, financial planning, career pressures, maintaining relationships, trying to remember passwords for 20 different accounts. The Buddha's insight wasn't drop all responsibilities and become a monk, though that probably sounds tempting right now. It was about discerning which burdens are yours to carry and which are optional suffering you've picked up along the way. That guilt about not calling your mum enough? Optional burden. The responsibility to care for her? Actual burden. The worry that your adult child might make wrong choices? Optional burden. The love that wants them to be happy? Actual burden. See the difference? You can care without carrying the whole world on your shoulders while trying to sleep. The Buddha talked about right effort, which doesn't mean trying harder. You've been trying hard your whole life. Right effort means wisdom in applying energy. Sometimes the wisest effort is no effort. Like right now, the effort to force sleep is keeping you awake. The effort to stop thinking is creating more thoughts. The effort to relax is creating tension. What if you apply the Buddhist principle of non-doing? Not laziness, but the recognition that some things happen better without interference, like falling asleep, or digesting food, or growing wisdom. This connects to what the Buddha called attachment to views. We all have views about how things should be. You should be asleep by now. Your life should be more settled at this age. Your children should make certain choices. Your body shouldn't make those sounds. These shoulds are like wearing too tight shoes and then wondering why walking hurts. The Buddha suggested loosening your grip on how things should be, which creates space for accepting how things are. This doesn't mean resignation. It means seeing clearly. Right now, you are awake. That's the reality. Everything else is commentary added by your mind's inner film critic, who apparently specializes in disaster movies. Let's talk about the Buddha's teaching on karma. No, not the cosmic point system where you get rewarded for helping old ladies cross streets. Karma simply means action and consequence. The karma of fighting with reality is exhaustion. The karma of worrying is more worry. The karma of judging yourself for being awake is, well, you're experiencing it right now. But here's the good news. Karma also means you can create different consequences through different actions. The karma of accepting this moment is peace. The karma of observing thoughts without believing them is freedom. The karma of being kind to yourself is, well, try it and see. The Buddha emphasized that meditation isn't just about sitting cross-legged. It's about bringing awareness to whatever's happening. Right now, you're doing lying in bed meditation or insomnia meditation. Congratulations, you're practically a Zen master. In fact, some of the deepest insights in Buddhist history happened during ordinary activities. The Buddha's enlightenment came while sitting. Huineng, the sixth patriarch of Zen, got enlightened while hearing someone recite scripture. Another monk achieved enlightenment while sweeping. Maybe tonight's your night for enlightenment while failing to sleep. The Buddha talked about the middle way between extremes. Right now, you might be swinging between the extremes of fighting wakefulness and despairing about it. The middle way might be, I'm awake. That's okay. My body is resting even if my mind isn't. This too shall pass. This is revolutionary for those of us trained in the, if at first you don't succeed, try harder until you break something, school of life. The middle way suggests that sometimes the solution is to stop treating something as a problem. Let's explore what Buddhists call emptiness, shunyata. Don't worry, this isn't nihilistic nothing matters philosophy. It means things don't exist in the solid, permanent way we think they do. Your insomnia isn't a solid thing. It's a combination of physical sensations, thoughts, emotions, and circumstances, all of which are changing moment by moment. Right now, insomnia might include physical alertness, mental activity, emotional frustration, thoughts about tomorrow, memories of other sleepless nights, and cultural conditioning about the importance of 8 hours. Remove any element and the experience changes. It's not a solid thing. It's a temporary constellation of conditions. Understanding emptiness means recognizing that your current experience is more fluid than it appears. You're not an insomniac. You're a person experiencing wakefulness right now. Big difference. The Buddha taught about dependent origination. Everything arises in dependence on causes and conditions. Your wakefulness right now depends on numerous factors. That coffee you had after lunch, tomorrow's presentation, your mother's health concerns, the phase of the moon, what you ate for dinner, that article about sleep you read last week. Change any condition and the experience changes. This is hopeful. It means nothing is fixed or permanent, including your current state. But here's the practical part. While you can't control all conditions, you can influence some. The Buddha called this skillful means, working wisely with what's available. Right now, you can't control your racing thoughts, but you can control whether you believe them. You can't force sleep, but you can allow rest. The Buddha noticed that humans have what he called proliferation, papanka, the tendency to elaborate simple experiences into complex problems. A simple sensation of wakefulness becomes, I have insomnia becomes, I'll never sleep properly, becomes my health will deteriorate, becomes, I'll die alone and tired. This is your mind's hobby, turning molehills into mountain ranges. The Buddha's suggestion? Notice when proliferation starts and gently decline to participate. Thanks, mind, but I don't need a 10-part series on why I can't sleep. The pilot episode was enough. Let's talk about the Buddhist concept of refuge. Traditionally, Buddhists take refuge in the Buddha, the teacher, Dharma, the teachings, and Sangha, the community. But right now, you can take refuge in simpler things. Your breath, the stability of your bed, the fact that millions of people throughout history have survived sleepless nights. You're not alone in this. Right now, countless people your age are awake, thinking similar thoughts, wrestling with similar worries. There's a strange comfort in this universal struggle. You're part of an unofficial Sangha of the sleepless. The Buddha talked about loving kindness, metta, starting with yourself. This is radical for those of us trained to be our own harshest critics. Try this. Talk to yourself like you talk to a good friend who couldn't sleep. You probably wouldn't say, "What's wrong with you? Just sleep already." you'd more likely say, "It's okay. This happens sometimes. You'll get through this." Why not offer yourself the same kindness? The Buddha's teaching on right speech applies to internal dialogue too. How you talk to yourself matters. "I'm terrible at sleeping" creates a different reality than "sleep is challenging tonight." "I'll be destroyed tomorrow" differs from "tomorrow might be tiring, but I'll manage." Your mind is like an echo chamber. Speak kindly into it, and kindness reverberates. Speak harshly, and, well, you're experiencing the results right now. The Buddha understood that transformation doesn't come through force, but through understanding. You don't end overthinking by thinking harder about not thinking. You end it by understanding the nature of thought itself. Thoughts are like guests in the hotel of your mind. They check in, stay for a while, then check out. Your job isn't to be the thought police, interrogating every guest. Your job is just to be aware. "Oh, anxiety's in room 204 again. Regrets hanging out in the lobby. Future worry just ordered room service." Here's a profound Buddhist insight. Awareness itself is already free. The part of you that's aware of anxiety isn't anxious. The part aware of confusion isn't confused. Right now, there's a part of you that's simply aware of being awake, and that awareness is perfectly peaceful. The Buddha called this the unborn, uncreated, unformed. It's the awareness that exists before thought, during thought, and after thought. It's what's aware right now, listening to these words, noticing your breath, feeling your body. This awareness doesn't need sleep. It doesn't need anything. It's already complete. The exhausted one, the worried one, the one who needs to sleep. These are all characters appearing in awareness, not awareness itself. Now, this might sound abstract when you're lying in bed calculating how many coffee cups you'll need tomorrow, but it's immediately practical. You can rest in awareness even when thoughts won't rest. You can be peace even when your mind isn't peaceful. The Buddha's final teaching was, "Be a light unto yourself." He wasn't saying figure it out alone. He was pointing to the light of awareness that's already within you, illuminating your experience right now. This light doesn't flicker when thoughts arise. It doesn't dim with worry. It doesn't need sleep to shine. So here you are, lying in bed, a perfect laboratory for Buddha's ancient experiments in consciousness. Every moment of wakefulness is an opportunity to observe the mind's patterns. Every thought is a chance to practice non-attachment. Every breath is an invitation to presence. You're not failing at sleep. You're succeeding at awareness. You're not having a problem. You're having an experience. And experiences, as the Buddha pointed out 2,500 years ago, are impermanent. Even this one. The great Buddhist teacher, Shunryu Suzuki, said, "The most important point is to accept yourself and stand on your 2 feet." Right now, you're lying on your back, but the principle applies. Accept this moment. Accept your wakefulness. Accept your busy mind. Accept that acceptance is really hard at 3 a.m. This is the path. Not some perfect meditation in a peaceful temple, but this imperfect moment in your imperfect bed with your imperfect mind doing its imperfect thing. This is where awakening happens. Not in spite of your racing thoughts, but right in the middle of them. So maybe tonight isn't about sleeping. Maybe it's about discovering that who you really are isn't disturbed by sleeplessness. Maybe it's about finding that peace isn't the absence of thoughts, but the space in which thoughts appear. Or maybe it's just a really long night that will eventually end. That's impermanence for you. Either way, you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, being exactly who you are. And sometimes that's the most Buddhist thing of all. Just being human, just being here, just being. The Buddha was essentially trying to solve the same problem you're having right now. In your bed, in your pajamas that have seen better days. He wanted to know why the human mind insists on torturing its owner. It's like having a personal assistant who only schedules unnecessary panic attacks. See, the Buddha discovered that you're not actually one person lying here. You're more like a committee, and right now all the committee members are talking at once. There's past you, reviewing every questionable decision you made. There's future you, catastrophizing about retirement. There's anxious you, who thinks worrying is a form of problem solving. And poor present you is just trying to get some rest while this circus plays out. This is what Buddhists call the 5 aggregates. Think of them as the ingredients that make up your current experience. First, there's form, your physical body, currently horizontal and increasingly frustrated. Then, sensation, what you're feeling, like that annoying itch that appears the moment you get comfortable. Next is perception, how you're labeling things like insomnia or that weird noise from the refrigerator. Then mental formations, all those lovely thoughts about how terrible tomorrow will be. And finally, consciousness, your awareness of this whole mess. The problem is, you think these aggregates are you, but the Buddha would point out that you're more like the space where all this is happening, not the happening itself. You're the stage, not the drama. Speaking of drama, let's talk about what the Buddha called dependent origination. Everything that's happening right now depends on something else. Your racing thoughts depend on that coffee you had after dinner, which you had because you were tired from last night's poor sleep, which happened because you were worried about that presentation, which exists because you took that job, which you needed because, well, you get the idea. It's like one of those elaborate domino setups, except instead of dominoes, it's your entire life leading to this moment of staring at the ceiling. The good news? You can interrupt the chain. You don't have to follow every thought to its dramatic conclusion. Right now, your mind is doing what Buddhist teachers call papanka, mental proliferation. It's taking the simple fact that you're awake and turning it into a 12-part miniseries about your inevitable doom. Can't sleep becomes, will be exhausted tomorrow. Becomes, will mess up at work. Becomes, will lose job. Becomes, will die alone under a bridge. Your mind should really consider a career in screenwriting. It's got a flair for disaster scenarios. The Buddha suggested something radical. What if you just stopped? Not stopped thinking, but stopped believing every thought is an urgent telegram from reality. Most of your thoughts are more like spam emails. They look important until you actually read them. Let's try what the Buddha called mindfulness of breathing. Not to control your breath or achieve enlightenment or any of that pressure. Just to give your mind something to do besides writing horror stories about tomorrow. Notice your breath. It's been faithfully keeping you alive this whole time without any help from your anxiety. In and out. No effort required. Your body knows how to breathe even better than your mind knows how to worry. And that's saying something. This is what meditation actually is, by the way. Not sitting pretzel-legged on a mountain, but just paying attention to what's already happening. Congratulations, you're meditating. Don't let it go to your head. The Buddha talked about suffering, dukkha, but he didn't mean dramatic, wailing and gnashing of teeth suffering. He meant this exact feeling you have right now, that persistent sense that something's not quite right, that life should be different, that you should be asleep. It's like having a stone in your shoe. Not agonizing, just annoying. And the more you think about it, the more annoying it gets. The second noble truth says this suffering comes from craving and aversion. Right now, you're craving sleep and feeling aversion to wakefulness. It's like being angry at rain for being wet. The rain doesn't care about your opinion, and neither does your current state of alertness. But here's where it gets interesting. The third noble truth says this suffering can end, not by finally falling asleep, though that would be nice, but by changing your relationship to being awake. It's like finally accepting that your difficult relative is who they are. The struggle ends when you stop trying to change what you can't change. The Buddha wasn't suggesting you become a doormat to insomnia. He was pointing out that the real suffering isn't being awake. It's fighting with being awake. It's all the stories you're telling yourself about what this means. Remember impermanence. Everything changes. This sleeplessness will pass. Your racing thoughts will eventually tire themselves out. Even your frustration about being frustrated is already shifting. Nothing stays the same, including this supposedly eternal night. The Buddha discovered something else. There's no fixed you experiencing all this. The you of an hour ago, the one who optimistically got into bed thinking tonight would be different, is gone. The you of tomorrow morning doesn't exist yet. There's just this moment's experience already morphing into the next one. This might sound like philosophical nonsense when you're lying here calculating how many hours until your alarm, but it's immediately practical. If there's no permanent you, then there's no permanent bad sleeper. You're not cursed. You're just experiencing what millions of humans throughout history have experienced. The Buddha called this insight anatta, or non-self. It's not that you don't exist. Your mortgage company certainly thinks you do. It's that you're more fluid than you think. You're like a river, constantly changing, never the same from one moment to the next. The you that can't sleep is just a temporary eddy in the flow. Let's talk about the middle way. Right now, you're swinging between extremes, trying to force sleep and despairing about wakefulness. The middle way suggests a third option, just being. Not trying to sleep, not fighting being awake, just existing. Revolutionary, isn't it? The idea that you don't have to do anything about this moment, that maybe this is just what's happening, neither good nor bad, just is. The Buddha taught about right effort, which doesn't mean trying harder. You've been trying hard your whole life. Right effort is more like wise effort. Sometimes the wisest effort is no effort. Like right now, the effort to sleep is keeping you awake. What if you just stopped trying? This connects to what Buddhists call letting go. Not giving up, not becoming passive, just loosening your grip. You're holding on to consciousness like it's the last cookie in the jar. What if you just put the cookie down? The Buddha observed that we create most of our suffering through what he called the second arrow. The first arrow is what happens. You can't sleep. The second arrow is our reaction. This is terrible. I'm doomed. Why me? You're basically shooting yourself repeatedly while complaining about being wounded. Here's a wild idea. What if you just took the first arrow? You're awake. That's it. No story, no drama, no future catastrophe. Just awake. The Buddha talked about skillful means, using whatever works. Right now, skillful means might be remembering that you've survived every sleepless night so far, or finding humor in the absolute certainty with which your mind predicts tomorrow's disasters. Your mind's prediction accuracy is about as good as those fortune-telling machines at carnivals. Let's explore loving kindness meditation, which starts with being kind to yourself. Radical concept, right? Instead of berating yourself for being awake, what if you talk to yourself like you talk to a friend in the same situation? Hey there, you're having a rough night. That's okay. This happens sometimes. You'll get through this like you always do. See? No one ever achieved enlightenment through self-criticism, though plenty of people have tried. The Buddha emphasized that wisdom isn't something you acquire. It's something you uncover. Like clearing dust off a mirror. Right now, your mirror is covered with thoughts, worries, and that recurring memory of that embarrassing thing you did. But underneath all that dust is clarity. It's always been there. It doesn't need sleep to exist. It doesn't need perfect conditions. It's the part of you that's aware of all this chaos, but isn't chaotic itself. This is what the Buddha meant by Buddha nature. Not some mystical state you have to achieve, but what you already are underneath all the mental noise. You don't become enlightened. You just stop identifying with the static. Speaking of identification, the Buddha noticed we suffer because we identify with our thoughts. Right now, you think you are your insomnia, but you're not. You're the one aware of it. Big difference. You're not the clouds, you're the sky. The clouds of thought come and go, but the sky remains. Even the darkest, stormiest thoughts can't damage the sky itself. The Buddha taught about right understanding, which in your current situation means understanding that this is temporary, even if it doesn't feel like it. Fighting it makes it worse. You're not alone. Insomnia is practically a human tradition. This might actually be useful. When else do you get uninterrupted time to explore consciousness? Okay, that last one might be pushing it when you're exhausted and facing tomorrow's responsibilities. But still, the Buddha discovered that peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the absence of resistance to problems. Right now, you could have peace with insomnia. Not happy about it, but not at war with it either. It's like making peace with rain. You don't have to love it, but fighting it is exhausting and pointless. The rain rains, you get wet, life goes on. The Buddha's path isn't about perfect conditions, it's about finding freedom within imperfect conditions, like right now, in your bed, wide awake when you should be sleeping. But who wrote that should? Some cosmic sleep police? The International Council of Proper Bedtimes? Or just your mind, which also thinks you should have made different choices? The Buddha would suggest examining these shoulds. They're not laws of physics. They're just thoughts wearing authoritative costumes. Here's the thing about Buddhist practice. It's not about achieving special states. It's about being present with ordinary states, like insomnia. Congratulations, You're having a profound spiritual experience. It just happens to feel terrible. But even terrible is just a label. Strip away the label, and what's left? Physical sensations, mental activity, breath going in and out, life happening. The Buddha didn't promise to eliminate difficult experiences. He promised a way to not suffer about them. There's a difference between pain, can't sleep, and suffering, the mental anguish about not sleeping. Right now, you're experiencing both, but you could just experience the first one. Novel idea, right? This is what the Buddha meant by liberation. Not freedom from experiences, but freedom within experiences. Even this one, even insomnia, even now. So here you are, involuntarily studying Buddhist philosophy in your bed. The Buddha would probably find this amusing. He spent years trying to achieve enlightenment through extreme practices, when all along it was available in ordinary moments, like this one, where you're finally starting to see that maybe, just maybe, this sleepless night isn't your enemy. Maybe it's your teacher, and maybe the lesson isn't about sleep at all. Maybe it's about waking up. Well, look at you, still here, still conscious, still engaged in what might be the longest meditation retreat you never signed up for. Your bed has become your monastery. Your racing thoughts are your fellow monks, and that weird sound your house makes, that's your temple bell. Welcome to the advanced course in Buddhist philosophy, where the tuition is paid in lost sleep, and the final exam is whether you can find peace while your neighbor's dog discusses philosophy with the moon. You've made it through the initial panic of, why can't I sleep? Survived the intermediate despair of, I'll never sleep again. And now you're entering what Buddhist masters call the "are you kidding me?" stage of enlightenment. The Buddha himself went through something similar. After years of extreme practices, starving himself until his spine could be felt through his stomach, not recommended. Meditating until birds built nests in his hair, definitely not recommended. He realized something profound. Trying too hard is just another form of suffering. So there he sat under his Bodhi tree, probably around this time of night, thinking, well, this isn't working. And in that moment of giving up, he found what he'd been seeking. The universe has a weird sense of humor like that. Right now, you might be experiencing what Zen masters call the great doubt. Not the small doubt of, did I lock the door? But the existential doubt of, will this night ever end? And do I actually exist? Or am I just a collection of worries pretending to be a person? Congratulations. You're having the same realizations that took ancient monks years of mountain retreats to achieve. And you didn't even have to give up your Netflix subscription. Let's talk about what the Buddha discovered in those pre-dawn hours that made him go, oh. Well, that's embarrassingly obvious. He realized that the whole problem, the entire cosmic joke, is that we're looking for peace everywhere except where it actually is, right here, right now, in this moment. You're looking for sleep in the future. If I fall asleep now, I'll get X hours. But sleep, like enlightenment, only happens in the present. You can't schedule it. You can't force it. You can't negotiate with it. It's like trying to schedule spontaneity or plan a surprise party for yourself. The Buddha called this the paradox of seeking. The more you seek sleep, the more it eludes you. The more you chase peace, the more agitated you become. It's like trying to calm water by smoothing it with your hands. You're the problem you're trying to solve. But here's where it gets interesting. In the deepest part of the night, when all your usual strategies have failed, when you've given up hope of sleep, something shifts. This is what Buddhist teachers call the great release. Though in your case, it might be more like the great whatever. You stop fighting, not because you're wise, but because you're exhausted. Not because you've achieved enlightenment, but because you've run out of options. And in that surrender, something opens. The Buddha talked about the gateless gate, the entrance to peace that's not an entrance because you're already inside. Right now, lying in your bed, you're standing at this gate, the key to opening it. Stop looking for the key. I know. Buddhist paradoxes at this hour feel like someone offering you a riddle when you need a sandwich. But stick with me. You've been approaching sleep like a problem to be solved. But what if it's more like weather? Something that happens when conditions are right. You can't make it rain by worrying about drought. You can't make sleep come by fearing its absence. The Buddha discovered something called the middle way, which sounds like a compromise but is actually more radical. It's not halfway between sleeping and waking. It's stepping out of the whole game. It's like realizing you don't have to win or lose at sleep. You can just be. Right now you're caught in what Buddhists call dualistic thinking. Sleep good, awake bad, rest good, activity bad. But what if, and hear me out, what if being awake right now is exactly what's supposed to be happening? I can feel your skepticism from here. Great. So I'm supposed to be exhausted tomorrow? That's the cosmic plan? But that's not what the Buddha meant. He was pointing to something more subtle. What if this moment, this exact experience of lying awake, contains everything you need? What if the peace you're seeking isn't in some future sleep, but in accepting this present wakefulness? This is what Zen folks call selling water by the river. You're looking everywhere for something you already have. Peace isn't something you achieve after you solve the sleep problem. Peace is what's here when you stop making sleep a problem. Let's try something the Buddha called bare attention. Instead of thinking about your thoughts, just notice them. Instead of trying to sleep, just notice wakefulness. Instead of fighting this moment, just be in it. Notice the weight of your body on the bed. Not to do anything about it, just to notice. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Not to change it, just to observe. Notice the thoughts arising, not to judge them, just to see them. This is meditation in its purest form, not sitting cross-legged on a cushion, but lying in bed at some ungodly hour, simply being aware of what is. The Buddha said that most of our suffering comes from wanting things to be different than they are. You want to be asleep. Reality is, you're awake. The suffering isn't in the wakefulness, it's in the argument with reality. It's like being upset at gravity for making things fall. Gravity just gravities. Wakefulness just wakes. Your resistance is optional. Here's a mind bender the Buddha would appreciate. What if you're not failing at sleep? What if you're succeeding at meditation? What if this whole sleepless night is exactly what you needed to understand something essential about the nature of mind? In Buddhist texts, they talk about the dark night of the soul, not as punishment, but as a necessary passage. The darkness before dawn, the confusion before clarity, the struggle before surrender. Maybe you're not an insomniac, Maybe you're a night shift Buddha, working the graveyard shift of consciousness. The Buddha taught about right view, seeing things as they actually are. Right now, what's actually happening. Strip away all the stories, all the predictions, all the judgments. What's left? A human being experiencing consciousness. That's it. Everything else is commentary added by your mind's editorial department, which apparently works over time. The Buddha discovered that awareness itself is never tired. The part of you that's aware of tiredness isn't tired. The part that's aware of thoughts isn't thinking. There's a peaceful witness behind all the drama, watching the show without getting pulled on stage. Can you feel it? That quiet awareness behind all the noise. It's been there all along, like the sky behind the clouds. The clouds of thought come and go, but the sky remains untouched. This is what the Buddha meant by Buddha nature, not something you have to earn or achieve, but what you already are beneath all the mental activity. You don't become enlightened, you just stop identifying with the shadows on the wall. Speaking of shadows, let's talk about what Buddhist psychology calls the hindrances. You've got front row seats to the full show tonight. There's desire, wanting things to be different. I want to sleep has become your mantra, repeated with all the effectiveness of wishing for a unicorn. There's aversion, pushing away what's here. You're treating wakefulness like it's personally offended you, like it showed up to your party uninvited and drank all your good wine. There's restlessness, the mental equivalent of pacing in a cage. Your thoughts are doing laps around your skull like they're training for the anxiety Olympics. There's dullness, that heavy, foggy quality that's not quite sleep, but makes thinking feel like swimming through molasses. And there's doubt, questioning whether any of this matters, whether you'll ever sleep again, whether Buddhist wisdom applies to someone whose main spiritual practice is checking their phone. The Buddha's approach to these hindrances wasn't to fight them. It was to recognize them, like spotting old friends at a reunion. Oh, hello anxiety. I see you brought your cousin regret. And look, there's future tripping, fashionably late as always. When you name them, they lose some of their power. They're just mental weather patterns, not permanent residents. Here's something profound, the Buddha realized. Suffering isn't in the experience itself, but in our relationship to it. Pain is inevitable. Sometimes you can't sleep, but suffering is optional. It comes from fighting with the pain. Right now, you could have insomnia without suffering about insomnia. Wild concept, right? Like having rain without getting wet. But the Buddha wasn't talking about physical wetness. He was talking about mental resistance. The rain of wakefulness is falling. You can stand there shaking your fist at the sky, or you can just notice, oh, it's raining consciousness tonight. Let's explore what the Buddha called the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which sounds like a construction project, but is actually about building awareness. First foundation, mindfulness of body. Notice your physical experience right now, not to judge it or change it, just to know it. The mattress supporting you, the blanket's weight, that spot on your back that's been weird since you helped your friend move that couch. Your body is here, doing its thing, whether your mind approves or not. Second foundation, mindfulness of feelings. In Buddhism, feelings doesn't mean emotions like I'm sad because my kid never calls. It means the basic tone of experience, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Being awake when you want to sleep, probably landing in the unpleasant category. But notice, the unpleasantness isn't solid. It fluctuates, changes intensity, sometimes even disappears when you're not paying attention to it. Third foundation, mindfulness of mind. This is observing your mental state like you're watching weather patterns. Cloudy with a chance of existential dread, partly anxious with scattered moments of clarity. Your mind has weather, but you're not the weather. You're the one watching it. Fourth foundation, mindfulness of mental objects. These are the specific thoughts, memories, plans that populate your consciousness. Instead of getting lost in their content, you observe them as phenomena. Like watching fish in an aquarium, you can see them without having to swim with them. The Buddha wasn't creating busy work for insomniacs. He was pointing out that when you observe experience clearly, without adding stories, something shifts. The suffering isn't in the insomnia, it's in the narrative about insomnia. Your narrative might be, "This is terrible. I'll be exhausted tomorrow. I can't function without sleep. Something's wrong with me." But what if the narrative was, "I'm awake"? Lots of people are awake right now. This happens sometimes. It's not my preference, but it's workable. Same situation, different suffering level. The Buddha talked about dependent origination. Everything arises based on causes and conditions. Your wakefulness right now isn't random punishment from the universe. It's the result of countless factors. What you ate, what you thought about, your stress levels, the phase of the moon, that article about sleep you read last week that's now making you anxious about being anxious about sleep. Understanding this web of causation doesn't make sleep magically appear, but it removes the personal sting. This isn't happening to you. It's just happening based on conditions, many of which you couldn't control if you tried. Let's talk about what Buddhists call emptiness. Not the depressing kind you feel looking at your retirement account, but the liberating recognition that things don't exist in the solid way we imagine. Your insomnia isn't a thing. It's a label for a collection of experiences: physical alertness, mental activity, emotional frustration, time awareness, tomorrow dread, and so on. Remove any element and the experience changes. This isn't philosophical hair splitting, it's practical. When you see that insomnia is empty of inherent existence, you stop treating it like a solid enemy to defeat. It's more like a cloud, appears solid from a distance, but up close, it's just vapor. The Buddha discovered something called the 3 characteristics of existence. Everything is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and not self. Sounds like a terrible Yelp review for existence, but it's actually liberating. Impermanent means this sleeplessness will pass. It also means if you do fall asleep, that won't last either. Everything's in flux, including your current state of cosmic annoyance. Unsatisfactory doesn't mean life sucks. It means even pleasant experiences have a tinge of anxiety because we know they'll end. Even if you were sleeping peacefully, some part of you would know the alarm will eventually ring. Not self means there's no fixed you experiencing this. The insomniac identity you're wearing isn't permanent. You're not a bad sleeper any more than the ocean is a bad wave maker during a storm. These insights weren't meant to depress you. They're meant to liberate you from taking everything so personally. The universe isn't targeting you with insomnia. You're just experiencing what millions of humans have experienced since we invented the concept of bedtime. The Buddha talked about right effort, which doesn't mean trying harder. You've been trying hard all night. Right effort is more like appropriate effort. Sometimes the most appropriate effort is no effort. It's like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But if you stop fighting, you float. Sleep is similar. The more you chase it, the faster it runs. But if you stop chasing, well, you might not immediately fall asleep, but at least you stop exhausting yourself with the chase. This connects to what Buddhists call Wu Wei, effortless action. It's not doing nothing. It's doing exactly what's needed, no more, no less. Right now, what's needed might just be here, breathing, being human. The Buddha emphasized that awakening isn't something you achieve through force. It's something you allow through understanding. You don't storm the gates of enlightenment. You realize you were never outside them. Same with sleep. You don't conquer it, you allow it. And sometimes, like tonight, it doesn't feel like allowing. That's okay too. The Buddha would say that's perfect material for practice. Let's explore the concept of beginner's mind from Zen Buddhism. It means approaching each moment fresh, without the weight of past experiences. Yes, you've had insomnia before. Yes, it was unpleasant. But this moment of wakefulness is brand new. What if you approached it with curiosity instead of dread? Look at that. I'm awake. I wonder what this is like. Instead of, oh no, not again. This is terrible. I know exactly how this goes. Beginner's mind doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means not assuming you know how everything will unfold. Maybe tonight is different. Maybe this wakefulness has something to teach you. Maybe you'll discover something profound about consciousness. Or maybe you'll just be tired tomorrow. But you don't know yet. The Buddha talked about taking refuge, not hiding from life, but finding shelter in what's reliable. Traditionally, Buddhists take refuge in the Buddha, the teacher, Dharma, the teachings, and Sangha, the community. But right now, you can take refuge in simpler things. Your breath. It's been keeping you alive all night without your supervision. The present moment, the only one that actually exists. And the fact that millions of people throughout history have survived nights exactly like this. You're part of an ancient lineage of the sleepless, philosophers, poets, parents of newborns, people with big presentations tomorrow, all united in the brotherhood and sisterhood of the wide awake. The Buddha taught about loving kindness meditation, starting with yourself. This is radical now when you're more inclined toward self-criticism. But try it. May I be happy? May I be peaceful? May I accept this moment as it is? May I stop Googling fatal insomnia? Then extend it outward. May all beings who are awake right now find peace. May everyone staring at their ceiling feel less alone. May that person somewhere checking their phone for the 100th time remember they're human, not a sleep-optimized machine. This practice isn't about feeling warm and fuzzy. It's about recognizing our shared humanity. Someone, somewhere, is having exactly the same thoughts you are. There's comfort in that. The Buddha understood that transformation happens not through force, but through awareness. You can't think your way to sleep, but you can observe your way to peace with wakefulness. Watch your thoughts like you're watching a parade. There goes the I'll never sleep again float. Here comes the tomorrow will be awful marching band. Oh look, the why me balloon just passed by. You don't have to join the parade, you can just watch it pass. This is what meditation really is. Not emptying your mind, but changing your relationship to its contents. Instead of being in the thought stream, drowning in worries, you sit on the bank and watch it flow. The Buddha talked about skillful means, using whatever works to reduce suffering. Right now, skillful means might be remembering that you've survived every sleepless night so far, finding humor in your mind's dramatic predictions, practicing gratitude for what's working. Hey, your heart's still beating. Accepting that rest has value even without sleep. The Buddha's path isn't about achieving perfection. It's about finding freedom within imperfection. Your insomnia isn't a failure of spiritual practice. It is spiritual practice. Every moment of wakefulness is a chance to practice presence, acceptance, compassion,